Vietnam में everything got stolen. Everything.
Your bag and everything.
Passport, wallet, phone, laptop, everything. So scary, I can't tell you. I had to call the embassy, tell them passport chala gaya, what to do.
In the last 1 year, you just blown up Instagram from 0 to 250K.
No, I was very camera shy. And I was like, मैं किस बारे में बात करूँगी, लोग मुझे क्यों देखेंगे, क्या बनाऊँ मैं?
Okay.
And I had a promise with myself कि मैं every day एक reel बनाऊँगी without a fail.
Okay, 120 days.
120 days at least.
Which went viral? Which reel went viral?
It was very funny. It was about completely disagree. I completely disagree with that idea. My studies were in physics. I did my BSc honors and MSc honors in physics and उस physics के बाद क्या करते हैं मुझे नहीं पता था. That's why one of my favorite roles that I recommend to people is virtual assistant.
Oh.
Remote job में especially अगर आप बहुत कुछ सीखना चाहते हो, आप ambitious हो, this is the shortcut to work with leaders.
Leaders
And managers.
Wow.
आप virtual assistant बनो. First company where I was in, I was selected as business development. The mindset of solving the problem, understanding what the client's problem is, especially as a freelancer, आपको orientation नहीं मिलने वाली. ठीक है, people will not come and tell you कि आज हमारी company orientation है, आज आप बैठ जाओ, हम आपको पूरा 8 घंटे की ट्रेनिंग. That does not happen in freelancing.
Yes.
Sciences में किसी ने 5 साल पढ़ाई की है, कभी किसी से बात नहीं की कॉलेज के बाहर, zero confidence.
Okay.
ठीक है, कुछ भी नहीं पता लोगों से बात कैसे करते हैं. To today, like how I'm sitting and talking to you, for me it's a big leap. I think the purpose of travel is growth.
Digital nomad life isn't just about Instagram pictures. It has its own struggles and rewards. Welcome back to Let's Talk Clarity podcast. Today's guest is living the dream of many, working remotely as a full-time digital nomad from Bangkok, Thailand. Meet Shreya Mahendru, whose journey has been nothing short of inspiring. From studying BSc Physics to now freelancing in AI and product management, her career path has been full of bold pivots and powerful lessons. In this episode, Shreya opens up about the challenges she faced along the way and how a simple business trip to Singapore sparked her love for travel, eventually leading her to design a life of freedom and exploration. Get ready for a conversation packed with career clarity, mindset shift, and the reality of digital nomad life. Let's start the episode. Hello everyone. Before we dive into today's episode, I just want to take a quick moment to say thank you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for being part of this journey. Whether you have watched one episode or 100, dropped a comment or shared it with a friend, your support means a lot to us. Because of you, we are now going global, recorded episode across 4 countries and 7 cities. And yes, we just hit our 100th episode. If you have been loving the content and want to see more powerful stories of career transformation and life fulfillment, do us a quick favor. Subscribe to the channel, share this podcast with at least 10 people, and drop a comment telling us which guest you'd love to see next on Let's Talk Clarity. Let's keep spreading clarity and hope, one story at a time. I'm Rakesh Mathuria, your coaching business mentor and host of the Let's Talk Clarity podcast. Now, sit back and enjoy the episode.
Welcome to Let's Talk Clarity podcast, and today we are having very special guest with a special career, and we are in a very special country and a special city, and this is 5th podcast in Bangkok. But before that, welcome Shreya on the podcast.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
So thank you Shreya for coming for the show. I'm truly grateful and arranging everything and helping everyone. I'm truly grateful for this.
You're welcome. All welcome.
But Shreya, this podcast is all about how you started your career from working professional to travel influencer now. But I want to start something else. What is the purpose of travel?
I think the purpose of travel is growth, personal
Okay.
and mental, physical as well for me, because I love to challenge myself physically when I'm in different weathers and different conditions. I like that as well. So for me, it's all about growth.
Okay, it's all about growth. Okay, growing each day, every day with different countries, different cities, and wow. But let me ask you this one beautiful question that if I say you that you go back to your school days
Mhm.
and you have just passed out in your 12th,
Mm.
whether you have imagined that in 2025 you will be here in Bangkok as a travel influencer, whether you have imagined.
Absolutely not. I would not have imagined that at all. It was not even on my bucket list. तो मेरे दिमाग में बिल्कुल भी नहीं था कि मैं ऐसा कुछ करूँगी.
हाँ.
I was mostly about ठीक है, you know, we had seen very conventional kind of careers in my family as well.
Okay.
My dad has been working at Doordarshan for 36 years. He just retired.
Okay.
And my mom has been a teacher all her life as well. तो मैंने नहीं देखा था कि इतने crazy type के careers भी हो सकते हैं.
Okay.
So I think we are born in an era where we can be so experimentative with our careers, with what we do, and how we are able to, you know, make money to live. I think that is a wonderful thing that we are exposed to. So I think that is all. I think all digitization, ग्लोबलाइजेशन, इस सबको मैं थैंक करना चाहूँगी
Okay.
कि इतना मतलब पावरफुल है आज की दुनिया की, आप लैपटॉप से फ़ोन से इतना कुछ कर सकते हो. सो आई थिंक दैट इज़ व्हाट आई वुड give all the, you know, all of the, I'll owe all my success to it.
Okay.
But yes, I think back then in school I would not have imagined it at all.
Okay. Then how you started? Means how you started your career, and then how you started traveling.
I
Means
mean-
if you can run through in 3 to 5 minutes. Yes.
If I actually break everything down, I look very very stupid.
Okay.
तो मैं एकदम सच अगर बताऊंगी तो yes, I want to share of course some bits of it as well. But I'll tell you, I was absolutely clueless. I was absolutely clueless. अगर मैं
Okay.
बताऊं कि मेरी
In your college.
yeah.
Okay.
My studies were in physics. Okay, so I did my master's.
Physics.
Yes, I did my BSc honors and MSc honors in physics, and उस फिजिक्स के बाद क्या करते हैं मुझे नहीं पता था. ठीक है, my dad had done it as well, and he was working in a nice, you know, in a nice setup in a government office itself. So he wanted me to go for, you know, something in which I could go for teaching, or, you know, I could just have, you know, a nice background. So that's why we went for physics. But then after that I had absolutely zero clue. So I tried
After college, yeah.
Okay, so I'd done the college. I tried like applying here and there. There were no placement programs in you know, BSc MSc में कुछ ऐसे placement नहीं होती कि कंपनी आ रही है और आपको तैयारी करनी है. ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता है. You are by yourself. You want to sit at home? Up to you. You don't want to work? Up to you.
Yes.
तो ये चीज़ होती है. तो mostly when I was almost done with my masters, I was like, I think I'm ambitious. I think I want more.
Okay.
So it was like I think it was a bit tough in that sense that I had not seen you know, that kind of background in my family where people are looking for, you know, moving out and going to another company and working there. and
Which
moving
city were you?
I'm from Chandigarh.
Chandigarh.
Yeah.
Okay. Chandigarh वाले तो लोग बाहर जाते
नहीं
नहीं है.
जाते. And I'm from Panchkula, like even smaller than Chandigarh.
Okay.
So I come from that city. वहाँ हमारी सब families ने जिस city में हम born हुए वहीं पर काम किए mostly, and not like you know, went out for any new ventures or anything. So for me, like asking for more was a bit you know, intimidating, and asking for my parents, it felt like a very big favor that I want this, you know, I want that flexibility. And to convince them and to let them know what I want to do, because even I had no clarity, right?
Okay.
So I think that way it was a blessing in disguise as well, because I had very less expectations from myself.
Okay.
I was like, कुछ भी मिल जाएगा, I'll be happy.
Yes.
Right. So I had very less expectations because I had no expectations at all. तो इसलिए जो चीज़ लग रही थी कि हाँ, maybe this is something I could do, I was like, ऐसे भी कुछ word सुना हुआ लग रहा है, काफी लोगों के LinkedIn पे होता है, ये कुछ कर लेते हैं. I randomly started learning that. I randomly started learning Salesforce and whatnot. But then you know,
Which year it was?
This was 2016,
2016.
not very long ago, 2015, 2016, around that time.
Okay.
So I was just done with my masters back then. So almost, you know, a decade ago.
Okay.
So yes, back then I think the resources were limited. LinkedIn एक platform था, but we couldn't like connect with people and
Yes,
drop them
it was
messages.
just starting in India.
started,
Yeah.
yes.
It was
It was not
very
very
big in US, but
Yeah.
India it was just growing. Yeah.
Yes.
Just picked up. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that was till date it holds the same importance in my life. I would say.
Okay.
LinkedIn. तो वहाँ पर ऐसा था कि I was still like browsing people's profile, what they are doing, and you know they have a nice like formal pictures, formal से suit and all पहन के, and I was like I've never like dressed up or even you know thought of myself dressing up like that. So I used to ask them, I used to message them कि क्या क्या चीजें in है, what all is there in the industry, what all I could do. I've done this study, and they were like इस study से related तो हमें कुछ भी नहीं पता है. So you know after all of the hit and trials, after trying out different things, and I got like into a couple of companies as well, good ones, but my parents wanted me to stay in Chandigarh itself.
Chandigarh. Yes,
Yeah, I
I
had
know.
to give up on all those opportunities. So yes, I joined a small company. Back then it was very small. It's called Code Guru Labs. I joined that company in Chandigarh itself, and I started as an intern there.
Okay.
So yeah, we used to get like you know we used to work almost weekends as well. So it was a very new exposure for me. It was IT, and I had zero clue about IT. Being from sciences, I had zero clue about it.
Okay.
So all of that was super new. But then you know when I went there, I think they were open enough to give me a role based on what I was you know seen
Good at.
in.
Okay.
Yes. So we were not clear. Even they were not clear where I would fit. But they wanted me to you know they wanted me to come in and give it a try because anyway it was an internship. So I think that was my first break. So I got it there, and zero clue about IT, but I tried to learn as much as possible, as fast as possible. Try to learn what is API, what is this, what is that. I'd done a bit of coding, but इतना पता नहीं था कि बनाते कैसे सॉफ्टवेयर.
Okay.
लोग सॉफ्टवेयर खरीद रहे हैं, लोग सॉफ्टवेयर बेच रहे हैं, मुझे नहीं पता था कुछ भी. So that was my first exposure, sitting in the office and you know looking at all the you know
Panchkula.
that chaos. Yes, Chandigarh.
Yeah.
From Panchkula I used to go to Chandigarh.
Chandigarh.
Yeah.
Okay. IT city.
It was back like it was in you know not in a commercial area. It
Okay.
was in residential areas के बीच में office था.
Okay.
So very nice exposure I think that ways. But that taught me a lot because there was no difference between an intern and let's say, you know accessibility to the CEO. We could go and brainstorm, we could go and give ideas, we could go and take ideas. I think that is what helped me groom at least in my first phases of career.
So I can say that actual learning happened on the job.
Yes, absolutely. उससे पहले zero, like
Zero.
started from zero, minus कह सकते हो आप, क्योंकि बाकी लोगों ने एटलीस्ट इंटर्नशिप्स की हुई थी, कुछ कहीं पर कुछ किया हुआ था. आई हैड लाइक जीरो एक्सपीरियंस ऑफ दैट टू. सो इट वाज ऑलमोस्ट आई थिंक आई स्टार्टेड फ्रॉम माइनस. Yeah. And I was 1 year behind, you know, because I did my 5-year studies.
Yes.
Everybody did their like 4-year studies.
3 or
1
4
year,
years,
yeah,
yeah.
3 years करके उसके बाद 1 year you take some internship, you take some
Okay.
you know some experience or something. मेरा कुछ भी नहीं था, मैंने 5 साल सिर्फ बुक्स वाली पढ़ाई में गए थे. And that was absolutely of zero relevance to what I was supposed to do next.
And how about your academics?
Academics, I was just a mediocre person.
Okay.
I was not good. I had a
Okay.
bad, like I cannot memorize stuff. That's why I'm a very good note taker. So I was so good with, you know, I'm actually very good with my action items and everything else because I know I don't
To-do
have a good
list
memory.
and list.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I can search, I can go back and learn also, but if you talk about like memorizing, you know, theorems and writing them in the paper, just learn it and write it, physics वाली चीजें, I couldn't do it. So I was very, very mediocre.
Okay. And then you started working, and when you first thought that now I want to switch.
I think the first company where I was in, the first 5-6 months, I was very underconfident.
Okay.
And then it was people around me who told me that, you know, you're doing great. You're actually learning very fast and you're faster than us. We come from computers background. So for us also, it's kind of, you know, हमें थोड़ा सा फिर भी knowledge है, कुछ terminologies. So considering that, you're learning very, very fast. So definitely ask for hikes or switch. Okay. Yeah. So like don't be ashamed of that. And when I told my parents, they were like, "What are you talking about? You just joined." और हमें 25 साल 30 साल हो गए एक जगह जॉब करते हो, आप क्या बात कर रहे हो? मुझे डांट पड़ गई घर पे तो कि क्या बात कर रहे हो, कुछ नहीं, ऐसा कुछ नहीं होने वाला, कहाँ जाओगे छोड़ के? ठीक है, बिकॉज चंडीगढ़ में बहुत लिमिटेड कंपनीज हैं.
Yes.
ये एक छोड़ूंगी तो सिमिलर कंपनी लाइक देयर विल बी सेकंड थर्ड कंपनीज वेरी सिमिलर टू इट. सो देन आई लाइक हैड टू फाइट विद माय पेरेंट्स दैट आई वांट टू स्विच cities also.
City also.
Yeah, so it was almost a year in, and I did great projects in the first company, and I started getting offers on LinkedIn itself.
Okay.
From other companies because I was very active there. I used to talk about, you know, my projects. I used to talk about how my experiences, how I'm looking for next ventures also.
Okay.
So I was very open there, and I got some offers in, and that's how like the hunt for the new job started. And then I
Okay.
wanted it to be like, you know, more challenging than the previous one.
Okay.
For example, in the first company where I was in, I was like behind the curtains.
Okay.
So people who used to be on the client, who used to be the client face, I used to sit behind them, even train them at times कि ऐसे बात कर सकते हैं, ये present कर सकते हैं. So I used to prepare them, but I never like went in front of the client. That was very rare. But then in the second company, I tried to find somewhere where I can, I can be the face. I can polish my communication skills also. I
Okay.
can be challenged with it because I was not confident. अब साइंसेस का बच्चा सोचो कि साइंसेस में किसी ने 5 साल पढ़ाई की है, कभी किसी से बात नहीं की है कॉलेज के बाहर, जीरो कॉन्फिडेंस.
Okay.
ठीक है, कुछ भी नहीं पता लोगों से बात कैसे करते हैं. टुडे लाइक हाउ आई एम सिटिंग एंड टॉकिंग टू यू, फॉर मी इट्स अ बिग लीप.
Okay.
राइट, बट इट ऑल केम चैलेंजिंग माई सेल्फ. मुझे पता था मुझे वो चीज़ मैं अच्छी नहीं हूँ उसमें और मुझे उसमें बेटर होना है.
होना है.
हाँ, तो आई लाइक आस्क्ड कंपनीज इफ दे कैन लाइक बी पुट मी इन अ रिस्की सिचुएशन.
In a sales
Yes.
or something.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Where?
So I went into sales.
Okay.
It was very challenging. But it was very fun.
And from Chandigarh, which city you went?
I went to Noida.
Noida.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And then take us through, means from Noida, which corporation, and then I just wanted to start the
Okay.
travel journey.
Yes. It will take time because I have done many jumps. But I'll tell you, like the first company where I was in, I was selected as business development manager, something like that,
Okay.
which means sales. But I was not supposed to do like the client communication and all that. It was mostly bidding जो होती है Upwork पे. But I never got to do that because the company identified that I could do some other stuff. So I was given the title of executive assistant to the CEO
Okay.
and business analyst. So I
Okay.
used to handle these two jobs.
Okay.
तो उसमें मुझे बहुत एक्सपोजर मिला. एग्जीक्यूटिव असिस्टेंट आई गॉट द एक्सपोजर ऑफ लर्निंग हाउ एवरी टीम वर्क्स,
Okay.
हाउ एज अ कंपनी लाइक बियॉन्ड जस्ट वन रोल, हाउ द बिगर पिक्चर ऑफ अ कंपनी वुड
Yes.
बी.
Overall. Huh.
हाँ, overall. That's why one of my favorite roles that I recommend to people is virtual assistant.
Oh.
रिमोट जॉब में स्पेशली अगर आप बहुत कुछ सीखना चाहते हो, आप एम्बिशियस हो, दिस इज द शॉर्टकट टू वर्क विद लीडर्स.
Leaders.
Leaders and
Oh.
managers.
Wow.
आप वर्चुअल असिस्टेंट बनो.
Yes.
हाँ, ठीक है. तो आई हाईली रिकमेंड दिस रोल. आई गॉट दैट एक्सपोजर ऑफ बीइंग द एग्जीक्यूटिव असिस्टेंट, दैट टू लाइक इन पर्सन. Right, so I could see how the leader is thinking 5 years from now, how I can contribute, how he's wanting the team to look like, how sales is working, how marketing is working, how HR is working. I could see everything.
Yes.
That-
You got to know all the departments'
Oh, yes.
roles
Yes,
and how they are interacting.
absolutely. So that was a wonderful exposure. And then after that, I wanted to go in a client facing role. So my second role was mostly into sales, pre-sales plus sales.
Mhm.
So everything that I was doing earlier, business analyst की तरह, plus also talking to the customer now.
Okay.
तो वो चीज़ मेरी आ गई थी. So I like hid a bit on the operations side, but वो वाला मैंने थोड़ा सा दबाकर I started rather working on more on the client facing side. So that was my experience in the second company, and there I got a very nice break, which was getting to work directly with Domino's.
Domino's. Okay.
Yes. So Domino's was undergoing some digital transformation projects, and their headquarters were also in Noida itself.
Okay.
So there, जैसे जो Dunkin Donuts and इनका Domino's का इकट्ठा एक जो headquarter, that is called
Jupiter. Jubilant.
Food
Yes.
Works, yes. So I used to go there. So I was selected, like just 2 people used to go there. One was the designer, and second one was me. So I used to like work alongside the designer. I got to learn a lot about data analysis as well. I got to learn the actual business analyst role, not just documentation. Actually में अगर business decision लेना है तो कैसे data check करके, इतना ज़्यादा data होता है of course, like imagine Domino's,
Yes.
कितना data होता है.
Yes. Yes.
So we used to we worked on their landing page, optimizing and increasing the number of conversions.
Wow.
That was the project. So I loved that. I had a very nice designer by my side also working there. So we used to work as a very nice team, and we were like consultants. वहाँ पर उनके लोग काम कर रहे हैं, just 2 people coming outside from another company and telling them what we can do.
What?
Yes. So that was a big deal. And I
Yes.
was very young. You can imagine, just 1 year, like 2 years after college. So it was not very much into the like professional world back then. तो वो बहुत अच्छा exposure मिला मुझे. And then that one had to like, unfortunately, the engagement was very limited period.
Okay.
So that was over. And then after that, I got another really amazing opportunity again from LinkedIn. That was for a Chandigarh company itself, but they wanted to open an office in Singapore.
Singapore. Okay.
So they wanted similar work, talking to the clients, helping them with their digital transformation plans, and knowing what my team is capable of, so that I can promise like something that is actually doable. So mostly वो काम था. So that was also very interesting. I got to learn a lot there, a lot.
Hmm.
So there also, first I worked within their India office remotely for Singapore clients,
Mhm.
and then I eventually built their Singapore client base, talked to them remotely, used to go there. That was my first international trip as well.
Okay.
Yes, the company sponsored it very nicely. It was, the first one was just 2 days. I tried to fit 4 meetings in it in 2 days. First half, second half, first half, second half. कोई घूमना फिरना कुछ नहीं.
And back.
Back. I was all the time with my suitcase. So that was my first international trip.
Okay.
And I got a lot of confidence in that. Okay, it's not that difficult. Like, it was all about just taking that first leap. कि मैं try करूँ. But yeah, that was, I think that tells a bit about my story of how travel got into my life.
Okay.
And how,
Okay, that was the trigger or
Yes.
initiation,
Yes,
I
yes.
can say. You have rightly said that people think that it is very difficult, and even we think. Even I went first in Singapore, Malaysia only. The first, it was vacation. Or now I have completed 13 countries. But my friends, they used to just wonder कि यार बाहर कैसे जाते हैं, visa कैसे लगता है, lot many questions. But for us, now it is a second
Yes.
nature. Means we can easily do. Yes. So Shreya, let us take me through that. You went to first trip to Singapore, and then keep on traveling. फिर वो जो travel का कीड़ा कैसे start हुआ?
So Singapore, I went multiple times.
Okay.
ठीक है, तो multiple times I used to go because I used to meet clients and everything. तो 5-6 बार मेरा चक्कर लगा वहाँ.
Means साल में 5-6 बार.
हाँ,
Okay.
साल में भी नहीं. I think that was in like 4 months, 5 months.
Okay. Every month one.
Every month
Okay.
one trip to Singapore, and to make sure my existing clients are doing well, and I can capture new clients also. So both the tasks were on me, client grooming and relationship, and sales as well. So that was into the Singapore trips, and then eventually.
Which year it was?
This was 2017-18.
17-18. Okay.
18, I would say. And then after that, I got a very, very nice client which reached out with a very vague. जैसे उस टाइम पर क्या होता था, लीड्स आते थे हमें. I was working at an agency, so leads used to come कि हमें एक सॉफ्टवेयर चाहिए. तो ये, it was a one-liner request coming from Jakarta, Indonesia. Okay, and it was like very vague. हम लोग usually ignore कर देते हैं वो वाली leads को कि ये लग नहीं रही थी. But then I happened to pursue that lead, and it turned out to be a big project.
Okay.
And that too in person.
Okay.
So that was in Jakarta. It was with one of the biggest telecom companies, and it's like जैसा एयरटेल इंडिया में है
वैसे इंडोनेशिया,
Airtel Axiata is in Indonesia.
Okay.
So there they wanted us to. I was like, let's meet up online itself, and they were like, no, we want to meet in person. I'm like, what? Like you promised me a project, then I'll definitely come. They're like, yes, we want to work with you. You show us the work and let's meet up.
Okay.
So I planned. That was my second country. That was Indonesia.
Indonesia.
So that was my second country, and after that visit, I think I was like very comfortable then traveling. Then I traveled to Germany.
Okay.
There I already had friends. So there I was like, मुझे सिर्फ flight में अकेले जाना है. And then there I already have friends, and Europe seems a bit intimidating. वो भी Germany सीधा जहाँ पता है English नहीं बोलते हैं. तो वो थोड़ा सा tough लगा था मुझे initially, but I knew I have friends there, so I started like taking small steps. And definitely, of course, I enjoyed a lot. I love flights. I still like that, the takeoff and landing still gives me that thrill. I'm not bored of it at all.
Okay, let's go.
तो वो चीज़ I think वो मुझ में थी कि हाँ मेरे को ये और countries try करनी है, मुझे और जगह भी जाना है, और cultures try करने हैं. Like Singapore had a whole different vibe. Right, I'd never seen that vibe. I'll tell you, like, I don't know, you might call it controversial, but religions so interblended and so intertwined. Nobody cares about which religion you're sitting beside. There is no like you cannot fight, you cannot be racist there.
Yes.
Okay, so that was something I was amazed by क्योंकि मैंने इंडिया में नहीं देखा.
Yes.
ठीक है.
Yes.
तो वो चीज़ ने मेरा दिमाग खोल दिया कि this is the same world we are living in, and people
Yes.
are not fighting, they are peaceful.
Yes. Peaceful. And Singapore में they are so kind,
They're
compassion,
so kind,
and they will give respect, and they will give way. They will, yes.
Despite all the crowd.
Yes.
Still giving. So those tiny things, I think.
And
those matter.
even if you ask something that please tell me this way, ये कहाँ रास्ता जाता है, they will leave their job, जो भी हाथ में काम है वो छोड़ के आपको रास्ता दिखा के आएंगे, बस में बिठा के आएंगे, then they will bow and then they will go.
So
yeah.
true. Exactly. I think this was, you put it in very nice words. ये actually मैं describe करना बहुत मुश्किल है. ये कैसी feeling होती है कि लोग आपकी मदद करने के लिए they'll go beyond the mile
Yes.
to help you. So that is something I was amazed by.
They will ensure that you get the help and
Yes.
you get your results. Yes. कि हाँ आपको बस में बिठा के then they
हाँ.
will go for their work. That
Exactly.
is true. Yes, Singapore.
So true. So I loved that. I loved it, and I thought if this is in Singapore, like this is the kind of culture shock that I got in Singapore. Definitely, every other country also has something to shake my mind. Because we are born and we are raised in a certain type of environment where we see only what we've seen as the truth. ठीक है, लेकिन अगर हम उसके बाहर जाते हैं तब हमें लगता है कि नहीं, हमें बहुत कम पता है, हमें 1% भी नहीं पता है. एंड आई थिंक दैट द ह्यूमिलिटी दैट ट्रैवल ब्रिंग्स यू, that humility that it kind of puts in you, I think that is something that I live for.
Wow.
I love it. ऐसे लगता है कि तुम्हें कुछ नहीं पता है. मुझे बहुत अच्छी लगती है वो फीलिंग कि मुझे कुछ नहीं पता.
नहीं पता मेरे को. हाँ, this is new for me. Yeah.
So I love that.
Okay.
I think travel का कीड़ा तो उसी से आया.
वहीं से आया. Wow. And then let's take this journey forward. जैसे you are 2017-18. Then 2020 COVID started. ठीक है. And then to COVID में 2 साल means how you survived those days.
I actually career-wise I made the best of it.
Okay.
Yes, it
Yeah.
was amazing for me.
Okay. A blessing in disguise.
Yeah, definitely.
So
And
where were
even-
you? You were in
I
India.
was in Chandigarh. itself. So the Jakarta project was on and off क्योंकि वो आना जाना लगा रहता था वहाँ पर.
Mm-hmm.
But then they wanted like long-term in-person thing and COVID hit and the project was of course suffering because of that. So I knew कि इसके ऊपर dependent नहीं रह सकते अब. I have to like find something else as well, and I had more time at hand. So I started finding like from my connections itself. Some,
Okay.
like, people
You
used to
started
reach out.
side gigs? Yeah.
Yes, I started side gigs. From my
Okay.
previous clients itself, people used to reach out. Can you help with this small project? For example, I'm working on a new concept and I want to like hire a digital transformation team, like a quality assurance engineer. I want to hire a development team as well and designer, etc. Can you put together the whole concept into something doable and also help me with the hiring? So it was मतलब इतनी vague requirements आती थी, उसको आप job title नहीं दे सकते. But people used to know me for certain things that I am capable of.
Okay.
So they used to reach out for those projects and I used to take up those as well. So these were like a couple of Australian clients, Indian Australian clients.
Okay.
They wanted like India-based team, but the product was Australia-based. So some things like that. I worked in education technology sector in that capacity. And then what I did was, I'll tell you now a very interesting story of how I upskill usually. So what I did was I drafted an internship for myself.
Okay.
That was for education technology.
Okay.
I knew I love technology and I love scaling things up. And I love how technology can combine with impact
Okay.
to increase the scale. ठीक है, तो मुझे था कि मुझे impact में से भी कुछ पिक करना पड़ेगा. And I am a lot like I'm a big fan of education. क्योंकि मुझे लगता है education किसी की भी life transform कर सकता है.
Yes.
ठीक है. So I wanted to work in education technology. So what I did was I made an internship for myself. It was made for like 3 months. I put it on a Trello board. उसमें सारी छोटी छोटी चीज़ें, मुझे कौन से पॉडकास्ट सुनने हैं, मैंने वो रिसर्च की, मुझे छोटे छोटे Udemy courses, Coursera courses, I picked books, e-books I picked.
Yeah.
I have to network with people, I have to attend certain types of events as well.
Yeah.
I have to
Seminars.
join certain communities. I put it all together into a plan and I was all in. Like I have to do this next.
Yeah. During COVID.
Yes, during COVID.
Okay.
So that was it. And anyway, I was doing a side gig for education technology also. So I knew that I'm combining and putting that knowledge to test as well.
Okay.
So it was perfect, right? And then what I did was, this is you call it manifestation or other words, but I feel like when you are heading in that direction, you're putting effort, you will attract, of course, opportunities in that. So I got some LinkedIn messages regarding some companies in education technology.
Okay.
Because he used to talk about it on LinkedIn also. तो वहाँ से मुझे कुछ मैसेजेस आने शुरू हुए. So one of the very nice European companies, one of the best companies I've worked with, they reached out to me for an opening again, because my job position was, the previous one was in Indonesia, my LinkedIn was not updated. So they reached out to me for an opportunity in Bali.
Okay.
So I told them like, there's COVID, I'm not there in Jakarta right now, what to do? And they said it's okay, we can start remotely or we can do something, let's at least continue. So we continued, and in one of the interviews we had the CEO also. So CEO ने भी interview लिया, and then in the end I got rejected. I got rejected because there was another person who was already there, and they were like, you were the person we wanted to pick, but since you're not here and this is an urgent opening, we went forward with somebody else. So that chapter was closed. And then 2 weeks later, the CEO reaches out to me. He's like, you were amazing at, you were very passionate. I could see the passion, and learning is not a problem. Hard skills are not a problem. We'll teach you. Do you want to come for a project, a small project? And then he invited me for a tiny project for Indian audience itself. अभी तक उनका पूरा project सब कुछ US में चल रहा था, and they wanted to launch it in India.
Okay,
So they
some
were like-
testing or something
yeah,
new.
some testing.
Okay.
And they knew India में laptops का penetration is lower. So I told them like phone penetration is very high. So if you want to try something, so smartphone app is the way. You should not go for a laptop app or even a web app. So we discussed that a little bit, and then he said let's do mobile app then.
Okay.
तो पूरी brainstorming activity, discovery activity के बाद he got me on board on a secret project almost, because the rest of the company did not know that was happening.
Okay.
So there were
Okay.
like 400-500 people in the company, and I was working on drafting a small team just for the mobile app launch. And the mobile app was a new product, and it was to be launched in India. So I was leading all of that launch. That is where I think I also got a lot of experience, a lot of confidence as well. And eventually, like, it took around 6 months to create the whole product and then launch it. And the marketing strategies were also something that I was still aware of, being an Indian. So I helped them make a wait list of almost 1 million students.
Okay.
Hey coaches and want to be coaches, I have a great announcement for you. If you want to start your coaching business or want to level up your coaching business, we are thrilled to announce our formula for building a coaching business through the power of podcasting. It is not just an online course. It's a community of coaches where we meet every week and grow together to build your coaching business along with your podcast. So, click the link to attend my webinar, Podcast Made Easy for Coaches, and jump into the Clarity 10x community. Now, enjoy the episode on Let's Talk Clarity.
So the penetration was very high. So it got like 800,000 downloads. And within the first, I think, 2 months itself, it was growing very well. And eventually that product got, absorbed in the bigger product, जो उनका laptop वाला product था, उसके अंदर absorb होकर वो B2B में चला गया.
Okay.
But then they wanted me to stick around, and I was pushed into the global team then.
Okay.
So I went into a new role called Global Product Operations. Yeah, that was the role name, and even I had not heard of it. I had not applied for it, but I got into that because of whatever skills they saw me, and
Okay.
they wanted to create like a small team that could empower the product management team. So they.
But here let me pause you, that you have done your graduation, masters from physics.
Yes.
And now into digital era and digital things, and you learned everything on the job, and
Yes.
now you are a global product
Operations.
operation. Wow. And I think it all boils down to learning. And you did that Udemy course करना है, फिर ये
खुद से
करना है now, all. And these companies were not asking for your degrees and
No,
everything.
no,
Nothing.
no. I think when some of them got to know a year I was into the company, when I used to hide it, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
मैं अपने CV में सबसे नीचे अपनी डिग्री लिखती थी,
Physics.
क्योंकि मुझे लगता था कि ये तो इम्पोर्टेंट ही नहीं है.
Okay.
ये तो इम्पोर्टेंट नहीं है, ये अगर देखेंगे तो मैं रिजेक्ट ही हो जाऊंगी, तो इससे अच्छा है लेट मी हाइड इट, लेट मी पुट द रेलेवेंट सर्टिफिकेशंस ऑन द टॉप. तो मैंने भी थोड़ा प्ले अराउंड किया उस चीज में.
Okay.
But yes, you have to find your strengths and weaknesses. That was my weakness, because I knew अगर मैं नॉन टेक बैकग्राउंड दिखाऊंगी तो मेरा रिजेक्शन पक्का है.
हो सकता है.
हाँ.
Yes.
तो फिर इसीलिए मुझे थोड़ा सा ये चीज मैनिपुलेट करनी पड़ी.
Okay.
But yes, that worked out well. And yes, you're right. I think all of the credit of how it all happened was definitely not sitting and waiting कि कोई आकर मुझे सिखाएगा, कोई आकर मुझे बताएगा कि मैं जाकर मास्टर्स करूंगी इस चीज़ में तो मुझे सीखने को मिलेगा, कोई MBA करूंगी तब सीखने को मिलेगा. It was not that, definitely. वो भी आज की एरा में, I think if you're dependent on an MBA, great, you want to go for an exposure for an MBA, but being dependent on it is almost silly. Because you're losing out on a lot. And I think also one more thing I would like to add, like beyond just like I think upskilling through internet, all the free resources we have on the internet and paid resources as well. I think one more thing I would like to add here is how can you contribute wherever you enter. A lot of the questions that I get asked from my mentees etc. is mostly मैं job में कैसे जाऊँ. मुझसे कोई भी नहीं पूछता how can I be good at my job. Sadly, people are not focused on it. How can I be even better at product management, for example? How can I be a better project manager? I'm still struggling with business planning, or I'm still struggling with lean canvas or whatever. People don't ask those questions. I feel very sad. लोग ये पूछते हैं जॉब में कैसे जाएं, सीवी कैसे बनाइए.
Just get into it, and
Yes.
after that, what?
After that, what? Like you have to be good at your job to get the next one also later, right?
Yes.
To get hikes. तो वो चीज़ लोग सिर्फ एंड रिजल्ट को देखते हैं कि हाँ मतलब हम इसको हाइक मिल गई, मुझे भी हाइक चाहिए. बट जो उसके पीछे का प्रोसेस है वो लोग जानना नहीं चाहते.
नहीं चाहते.
I think that is what like people should like, especially your viewers should be definitely be focused on. How can you be amazing at your job? How can you be, you know, be better than everybody else, so that you know then negotiation becomes very easy with your salary. अगर आपसे ऊपर कोई है ही नहीं जॉब में तो किसको देंगे वो पैसे, और सैलरी का नेगोशिएशन का वो पॉइंट ही खत्म हो गया. So definitely I think that is also one thing to focus on. Keep upskilling during your job also.
Keep upscaling. Yeah, that is more important. Yes. And so Shreya, means right now means we are discussing about you are doing job, you are doing side gigs and everything. So now you are on your own. Means you are now you are entrepreneurs, not connected, and you are having means contractual freelancing job. So when this jump done?
I think COVID, yes, I got like these gigs, people reached out to me for this. Then I got more confident that there is this engagement model in which you don't have to work with one company for longer term and you can rather work with multiple clients.
Okay.
मैंने थोड़ा सा एक्चुअली रिसर्च भी किया इस पे कि क्या और लोग भी कर रहे हैं या मैं कुछ गलत तो नहीं कर रही हूँ कहीं अपने, मतलब कहीं ऐसा हो कि कल को मुझे अगर लॉन्ग टर्म जॉब चाहिए और मुझे सब लोग मना कर दे कि ये तो कैसे अपने काम के पास. So I tried hunting and I saw the pattern, and especially in the US it was becoming very common for people working for multiple companies, and that meant freelancing, and I did not know that word back then. ठीक है, तो वो freelancing उसको बोलते हैं. तो वो चीज़ मैंने सीखी कि ओके फ्रीलांसिंग अगर ये है तो इसमें एक तो लिंक्डइन चैनल बन गया, बट व्हाट इफ पीपल डोंट रीच आउट टू मी, व्हाट शुड आई डू देन इट मेंट आई हैव टू डू आउटरीच माई सेल्फ. एंड देन देयर आर प्लेटफॉर्म्स लाइक अपवर्क, फाइवर, एंड लिंक्डइन पे भी आप रीच आउट कर सकते हो. देन अपवर्क वाज वन प्लेटफॉर्म आई साइंड अप फॉर इन 2022.
Okay.
तो मेरा फेब के आसपास मैंने किया था, एंड दैट्स व्हेन लाइक द यूरोपियन कंपनी आई न्यू दैट वाज गोइंग ग्रेट. बट देन व्हाट इफ लाइक आई वांट टू स्विच इन द फ्यूचर, आई जस्ट वांटेड टू क्रिएट अ प्रोफाइल एंड यू नो हैव सम बैकअप्स एंड ऑल दैट. आई वाज ऑलवेज रेडी विद बैकअप्स एंड ऑलवेज अपस्किलिंग. तो वो मैंने अपवर्क की प्रोफाइल खोली, एंड आई वाज वेरी लाइक इवेंचुअली यू नो आई गॉट वेरी पैशनेट इनटू प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजमेंट ऑपरेशंस. मुझे न्यू टूल्स मिलते थे तो मैं वो जल्दी से सीख लेती थी. तो on Upwork itself, I started looking at people who were struggling with their operational setup. Very simple company, you know, agency kholi hui hai, let's say 20-30 people. They are working on Google Sheets. And it used to shock me, and people are writing, hame koi chahiye jo ki aisa tool liya hai. So I started helping them.
Okay.
So I got my first Upwork project within like 2-3 months of opening the Upwork profile, which is very difficult.
Okay.
नहीं मिलता शुरू में. पहला project सबसे मुश्किल होता है.
Yes.
So I got that very smoothly. It was a very small $500, $1,000 project. तो उस टाइम पे लगा अच्छा मुझे $500 मिल रहे हैं एक हफ्ते के काम के लिए, तो बहुत ज़्यादा पैसे. But I knew the kind of problem I'm solving for them.
Yes.
It takes a team to do it, or it takes a full-time person to do it. And instead of like them hiring a person, if it can be done quicker, they will of course pay extra money because they are saving on their resources. So that mindset of solving the problem, understanding what the client's problem is, especially as a freelancer, आपको orientation नहीं मिलने वाली. ठीक है, people will not come and tell you कि आज हमारी company orientation है, आज आप बैठ जाओ हम आपको पूरा 8 घंटे की ट्रेनिंग देंगे. That does not happen in freelancing.
Yes.
So you have to go and ask questions. Why are you struggling? Why are you using this tool? Have you tried this tool? What does your team think about it? Has your team talked about their challenges? उनको कहाँ problem आ रही है? If you go and ask those questions, you will come and dig in, and you will try to see, okay, they have already tried this is not working. Have they tried it in this way? Maybe this is also not working. Then what can we try next? Then I usually prefer to try in silence, and then because operations में क्या होता है, आपको सारी टीम का साथ चाहिए कोई भी चीज़ को successful करने के लिए.
Yes.
तो मैं क्या करती हूँ, पहले मैं अकेले उनका रेप्लिकेट करती हूँ पूरा प्रोसेस. आई ट्राई टू साइलेंटली ट्राई एंड कॉपी whatever they are doing in my new process.
Okay.
And then if it fails, it is with me only. If it succeeds, then I can roll it out.
Okay.
That was my strategy.
Wow.
तो ये operations में मेरी strategy रहती है. मैं कभी भी पूरी टीम को आ जाओ ये वाला new tool use करेंगे. I don't do that.
First you trial.
Yes. I myself will bring their projects on. They will not even get to know about it. उनका पूरा Google Sheet से पूरा आसाना Monday में shift कर दिया project. Then they'll like then I'll daily sit down. Okay, उनकी progress होती है. Let me update here silently. And then I'll tell them it's all updated. Start using it. तो इस तरीके से मेरा रहता था, क्योंकि मैं मतलब सोच पाती थी कि उनकी प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट यही रहती है कि हाउ डू वी अडॉप्ट, हाउ डू आई सडनली स्टार्ट यूजिंग इट. मेरा सारा कुछ अभी गूगल शीट्स पे है. तो एक बार आपको क्लाइंट की प्रॉब्लम समझ में आ जाए, एंड दिस इज नॉट जस्ट फॉर लाइक आई एम गिविंग माय एग्जांपल फॉर ऑपरेशंस, even for marketing, even for HR, even for let's say sales, even for like any role, even for quality assurance, try and go and try to think why are they even hiring somebody, what is the problem and how best can you justify it. अगर आपको जॉब भी ज्वाइन करनी है ना, तो मैं हमेशा बोलती हूँ आपको क्वेश्चन पूछने का चांस देती है कंपनी हमेशा इंटरव्यू में. तो योर क्वेश्चन शुड बी व्हाट डू यू थिंक I will achieve in 3 months that will make you think that I am a successful hire. अगर आप इस तरीके से पूछोगे, आपको अपना 3 months का रोड मैप मिल जाएगा कि मुझे पहुंच के 3 महीने में क्या करना है. हाँ.
Yes.
So if you get that clarity and they also get that clarity, you are on a good track. Wow. You'll be a successful hire then.
Superb.
So I think this is the strategy and mindset you have to go in with as a freelancer, as an employee, as a contractor, as an agency. Go and try to think कि आप successful होगे कैसे. ठीक है, उसमें और चीज़ें आ जाती है, ऑफ कोर्स KPIs के होंगी, क्या होगा, दैट इज ऑल nitty-gritties, बट दिस इज द मेजर माइंडसेट दैट यू हैव टू गो इन विद, दैट आई हैव टू गो एंड हेल्प विद इन द फर्स्ट 3 months, आई हैव टू शो माय वैल्यू देयर. तो ये आई थिंक आपको सही डायरेक्शन में अपस्किल करने का भी एक बहुत अच्छा मौका मिलता है. For example, if I don't know the tool that they are using, I'm into operations, but maybe they are using a new tool which I have not used. Like I have not used, for example, MS Projects, but वो लोग वो वाला tool use कर रहे हैं. So what will I do? Like I don't have to spend 3 months on learning the tool. I have to go in and try to think, okay, उनकी problem क्या है? वो अभी तक ये क्यों use कर रहे थे? What now is the challenge? Why have they hired me? And then I'll quickly learn only in that direction. My learning will be very focused also.
Got it.
उसमें आप रैंडम चीजें नहीं सीखने लग जाओगे, उसमें आप एकदम फोकस के साथ जाओगे, मुझे ये प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करनी है पहले 3 महीने में.
Okay. And then let us take us through that. अभी तक आप LinkedIn के बारे में बात कर रहे हो, ठीक है, but in the last 1 year you just blown up Instagram from 0 to 250K.
Yes.
In 1 year.
In 1 year.
How you crack that? Because from last 7-8 years you are all into LinkedIn and now in Instagram. How you switch that? And let me ask you this also, that most of the travel influencers, they do travel and then they make content and then they make money. And for you are having separate job, the product management, and the travel is something.
Is an add-on.
Add-on,
Yeah.
yes.
And
yes,
content is an add-on on the top of it.
So how you are managing?
So I think when I decided to start, it was also in Thailand itself, when I decided to start on Instagram itself.
Why?
यहाँ पर ना कल्चर है डिजिटल क्रिएटर्स का.
Okay.
So here
why not do this also?
Yeah, why not do this?
Okay.
And I knew I wanted to do it, but I was still, I was very camera shy, and I was like, मैं किस बारे में बात करूँगी, लोग मुझे क्यों देखेंगे, क्या बताऊँ मैं. तो वो चीज़ें I was not getting clarity on what to make and why to even make it.
Okay.
But then I knew I had a lot of like rich experiences which definitely people could learn from, and even if like one person's life would change from that, I would feel very happy. तो मुझे ये था कि नहीं, मुझे मतलब हेल्प करनी है. तो आई स्टार्टेड लाइक माई टॉप मेड पेज, लिंक्डइन पे भी थोड़ा बहुत लिखना शुरू किया. बट आई न्यू इंस्टाग्राम का तो ऐसा स्केल है ना, ऐसा रीच है कि लोग सारा टाइम स्क्रॉल करते हैं. तो अगर उस पे होगा ना, इट विल बी वेरी नाइस. So out of all of those platforms, I picked Instagram.
Okay.
To move forward with.
Okay.
And
It was conscious decision.
Yeah, it was a conscious decision on Instagram. And then why I like got enough motivation in Thailand, क्योंकि यहाँ पर ना सब लोग कैमरा लेकर घूम रहे होते हैं, तो मुझे शर्म नहीं आती. Nobody staring at you, even if you're like recording public.
Yes.
Right now we're sitting, nobody will come and like ask and start staring what you're doing.
Yes.
So I was like, I got very comfortable in front of camera in public as well. So I started creating on random things to begin with. I'm very passionate about the visas topic. I started talking about that.
Visas, okay.
And then I started talking about, people started asking, okay, visa is fine, but how did you get there? Like, what are you doing? What are you working? How are you earning? Then I understood the problem is not about the, the travel part. अगर किसी के पास पैसा है और comfort है, they can travel. But how to get there? Like the journey behind it, कि जॉब भी होनी चाहिए, सेविंग्स होनी चाहिए उसके लिए, स्मार्ट फाइनेंशियल डिसीजंस होने चाहिए. तो उसके बारे में मुझे बात करना भी जरूरी है.
Okay.
Because people used to ask in the comments. Then I understood कि okay, the career part, I need to talk about that too.
Okay.
So I started talking a little bit about that as well. And I think eventually all of the content actually came from what people wanted to see.
Okay.
From
Comments.
Yes.
You got your next content from the comments.
From
Yes.
comments, from comments. तो उस तरीके से I think वो start हुआ, and I
Which went viral? Which reel went viral?
It was very funny. It was about Narayan Murthy.
Acha, okay.
So I talked about the 70
That's 70 hours. Okay.
I completely disagree. I completely disagree with that idea. So I was like, I think, yeah, I was very shy, like challenging such a, such a personality's take on this entire thing. And I was like, but what about like people like us who are employees, right? People like us who, let's say, who have, a home to run, who have bills to pay, who have a life to live, who have family, who have health problems and whatnot, who have hobbies, who want to travel. So you want us to work for 70 hours a week and sell ourselves and not enjoy anything in return because their families and their top leadership is enjoying it only. That is not fair. And I had worked in company, in the European company, where I have seen leaders enjoy this, the success with their team. I was called to Spain completely like on their expense just because we had reached a milestone. The leadership could have enjoyed the perks, right? But हमें सबको invite किया, दुनिया भर से उन्होंने बुलाया, अपने special funds arrange किए उन्होंने कि no, we are saving for to make sure कि हमारी टीम को भी उस चीज़ का पूरा वो feel करें success को. We got like up, now people are at least finally realizing, even Indian companies, product companies especially, कि अगर उनको let's say funding मिल गई, वो ESOPs दे रहे हैं, ठीक है, वो ये सब चीज़ें दे रहे हैं अपने employees को, which is something that we should look for, क्योंकि वो पूरी मतलब वो motivation बढ़ाता है, ठीक है. और अगर आप long term काम करो, आपको कुछ मिल रहा है रिटर्न में, बट अगर आपने वही 30,000 कमाने हैं और वही चीज़ करनी है, तो why should I work for 70 hours? Like give me a legit reason. क्योंकि अगर लर्निंग आप मुझे वहाँ पर करवाना चाहते हो, लर्निंग मैं घर पे कर लूँगी ना. आप मुझे मैं 40 घंटे काम करूँगी, 10 घंटे की लर्निंग मैं घर पे जाकर कर लूँगी, मैं वहाँ पर क्यों करूँ? पर like I think randomly in public also people reached out and asked me, you talked about that topic, right? You worked with a European company, how was it? Okay. And then I told, and people were shocked about certain things. Even I was shocked about certain things when I had joined.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it was one of the reels I made in the first 120 days of starting content creation.
Okay.
And I had a promise with myself कि मैं every day एक reel बनाऊंगी without a fail.
Okay. 120 days.
120 days at least.
Okay.
तो वो मैंने without a fail मैंने reel बनाई. Of course शुरू में तो बहुत कम views, likes आते थे, 10 likes आते थे. And then but eventually like people started understanding. They wanted to see the other side also. So they
120 days means 4 months. 4 months.
4 months.
Daily you made.
Daily.
And when you got that success means on which day?
I think last year itself, this time I had around
Means
20,000 followers.
From 0 to 120, which day you got, yes, now views are coming?
I think it was around like 100th day or so.
Okay.
3 महीने तो लगते हैं.
3 महीने.
3 महीने
Okay,
is
okay.
minimum.
Yes, we have to
Yeah.
audience.
Yeah.
Yes.
तो अगर content creation
लोग क्या करते हैं, 10 दिन बनाते हैं, 15 दिन बनाते हैं, and then they will, अरे यार views
नहीं.
नहीं आ रहे हैं, and then they will left.
Yeah.
Means I think 70-80% leave.
Yes, I've seen so many.
Okay.
But 90 days is the minimum, and the more data you provide to the platform, and also you collect from comments and DMs, the more you will know what people are liking. अगर आप सोच ही जा रहे हो theoretically कि शायद लोगों को ये पसंद आएगा, तो it's not going to work. And your personality is your personality. Let's say a certain topic is working well for other person. They don't want the same topic from you. They want your story. So I think share like even the witty things, everything like behind the curtains, everything with your audience, and let them relate with you. Don't worry about niche. Don't worry about niche. Try different topics. See what angles of your personality the audience likes, and go for it.
Wow. And then 1 year में 250K.
250K. 1 year, 2 months almost.
2 months.
हाँ.
Okay.
14 months हो गए. 14
Okay.
months.
And now means what is your frequency?
Now I'm doing almost like once in 2 days.
Once in
But अभी भी try रहता है. अभी trial
3-4 reels in a week.
हाँ, 3-4 reels तो रहती है minimum.
Okay.
अभी भी. Trial reels also I'm doing.
अच्छा, trial
reels में क्या होता है, उसमें तो it doesn't go to your followers.
Yes.
So you can try new concept. Like
non-followers को जाता है.
So sometimes let's say I want to try on a new topic which my audience has not heard from me. But I know I'm very passionate about it. Now I want to try whether it will work or not. I will just post in trial.
Okay.
तो दिन की लोग 3-4 भी post कर रहे हैं, उससे बहुत fast grow कर रहे हैं. So definitely worth trying. As soon as you get the trial reel option, definitely put like 3-4 reels a day.
Okay.
हाँ. That will also get followers.
जैसे मैंने आपके reels देखे हैं, means you are having a flavor, a different flavor than travel. And एक product का भी है, then visa का भी है, and your reels are very connected to roots, let me say, because I was also able to connect and lot many things. वो means ऐसा नहीं लग रहा था कि कोई travel influencer बना रहा है. It is like just a normal person making, and it is blowing up. So you got that knack of reels.
I think yes, because travel में I did not want to create content just travel वाला, because one thing is I want to enjoy travel and not travel for content. I want to like make content for travel but not the vice versa. तो ऐसे नहीं कि मुझे अब मैं थाईलैंड में हूँ and I'm enjoying my life here. I don't want to just leave the country just to make content. I don't want to do that. I will show the normal life here, my daily life here. I will show, like, I will talk about other topics that happen in my daily life, which is, you know, career related, which is, let's say, related to living here, which is related to, let's say, my next visa and whatnot. तो वो सारे topics भी important हैं, क्योंकि वो daily life में वो भी चलते हैं. Not just like, you know, let's say, जर्मनी की वीडियोस और या फिर कुछ भी इंडोनेशिया.
ये देख लो
I think वो हैं, and the people who are doing that are doing a way better job than I can do.
yes
So I let them do that. I am not good at that, I feel, because I feel a lot of pressure when I have to travel for content. And I like slower life, especially like slower travel. कि एक जगह पर एटलीस्ट मैं 1 महीना तो टिकती ही हूँ.
एक महीना.
Wherever I go, I try to, like, I love slow travel. It's lighter on the resources of the place where we are going, and second, it's lighter on my expenses also. क्योंकि अगर मैं ट्रैवल करूँगी 1 हफ्ते के लिए तो मुझे होटल या एयरबिनबी करना पड़ेगा, which will be expensive. सेम फंड्स के साथ अगर मैं 1 महीने के लिए जाऊँगी उतने ही का ही मुझे रेंट पे पूरा अपार्टमेंट मिल जाएगा 1 महीने का.
Okay.
सेम कॉस्ट. तो why not stay there for 1 month, talk to people, have lazy days also, have like cuisine there, do nothing on some days, just explore a mall on some day because I want to shop. Why not?
Let me ask you this one question that means जो भी travel influencer बन रहे हैं या जो भी बन रहे हैं, so they think that सुबह से शाम तक बस travel ही चलता रहता है, but we have to work also, we have to do the finance also and वो सब. So how you are balancing those things?
I will say it's very hard to earn from traveling.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very hard, and not everybody is able to do that. But remote jobs are way more common. So I will say go for like a small remotely, even if it's related to travel, आपके passion से related. Let's say आपको video editing पसंद है vlogs की, you can video edit for people, other people, and in the meantime earn from that and use that for your travels. So definitely have your finances sorted. Don't say कि मैं bag उठा के चल रहा हूँ घूमने के लिए. Don't do that. That is not recommended. I think it will give you extra stress that you don't want while traveling. You want to enjoy while traveling. And second is, if you get into trouble, let's say you get sick, you get into some problem, you have to have like some extra funds. So you know, don't be so hard on yourself कि मुझे बस backpack लेके निकल जाना है. I am not that person, and I won't recommend it to anyone, especially to foreign countries. Don't do it.
Okay.
And yeah, if you want to start off, definitely try and find your vibe. You can like right now the problem is there are extremes. Either there is luxury travel or there is backpacking travel. There is nothing in between which actually people do. तो उसके लिए आप relatable type की अगर चीजें बनाओगे ना, कि छोटी-छोटी चीजें, for example, let's say how do I manage my food in a foreign country?
Foreign country, yes.
Those are like the tiny topics that you can talk about. Be as raw as possible. You don't have to travel all the time. Even if you're in a new city and you're, you know, just finding a new thing there, you can show that. Sometimes I'll tell you, like, sometimes just like things like signages are very cute in a new country. I will just tell her, look at this, this is so cute. Like they have a painting on their signage, which they could have avoided. Like we don't have that in India. So it's so cute, right? Some things they are so amazing in India, which don't exist in foreign countries, and people get amazed by that. So I think just talk about the culture as well, like the other topics just beyond the sightseeing, and that is also very relatable for the audience.
Wow. And let me ask you this question, that you must be having some good experiences, bad experiences. If you can share your best experiences and the worst.
I think I'll not call any of them the worst.
Okay.
But mostly I would say I've not enjoyed the US that much.
Okay.
मुझे वो बहुत ऐसे uptight लगता है. मुझे वो थोड़ा, मतलब वहाँ पर मुझे बल्कि ज़्यादा concerns लगे related to safety etc. I was mostly in the Texas area, which I did not enjoy much. And then bad experiences, I think they become stories later.
Yes.
So many of those, I think some were in Thailand itself, some were in other countries. But Thailand में भी एक बहुत crazy experience था last year. I was on a bike trip from Chiang Mai to Pai. So it's like a 4-hour ride.
4-hour bike.
हाँ,
Okay.
bike ride, and it's hilly area.
Okay.
ठीक है, तो वो मैंने कहा चलो ठीक है, let's do it. क्योंकि मैंने एक सिटी कवर कर ली थी nearby from Chiang Mai by bus. So I was like, I want to do some adventure. We have like nice, like at least decent roads here. क्योंकि हिमाचल वगैरह में मुझसे ड्राइव नहीं हो पाता, मुझे बहुत डर लगता है वहाँ पर. and Chandigarh is like very near to Himachal, so I've never done that. So I thought let's do it here.
Hmm.
So I got the bike. The ride up was very good. So the next day I was supposed to return after hostel stay. I was supposed to return, and it started pouring very bad, very bad. वो रुक ही नहीं रही थी और मेरा डेडलाइन था कि अगर मैं 2 बजे तक नहीं निकलूँ दोपहर के, तो by the time I'm back, it will be very dark and it will be very hard to drive. And it is all forest area. There's no 7-Eleven. There's no place to stop on the way. So I waited and 2 o'clock का मैंने डेडलाइन रखा. मैंने कहा like screw it. I'll just leave now.
Yeah.
तो मैं निकल पड़ी.
बारिश में भी.
Full बारिश, no raincoat, बहुत ठंडी हवा, and some roads were broken also, and wild dogs, wild like animal sounds, whatnot, no way to stop.
It was all jungle. Yeah.
Yes, जंगल में मैं वापस बाइक पे आई हूँ. वो बाइक में पहली बार चला रही थी. तो मुझे ऐसे नहीं था कि मतलब वो मेरी अपनी बाइक है कि मुझे आती है वो चलानी. So I was like very cautious. It took me 5 hours to get back. I was trembling like anything. And by the time I got back, then I just like I was like I'm going to have a hot coffee and sleep for at least 10 hours. So yeah, my body took like a toll on that day for sure. It was like I took 1 day at least to recover.
Yeah.
अगले दिन मैं काम नहीं कर पाई थी. अगले दिन मुझे था मैं सप्लीमेंट्स लेती हूँ, मैं थोड़ा सा वार्म ड्रिंक्स लूँगी अच्छे से. तो वो काफ़ी क्रेजी एक्सपीरियंस था. एंड आई हैड लाइक मेनी मोर. वियतनाम वाला भी काफ़ी क्रेजी था.
Which one?
वियतनाम में everything got stolen. Everything.
Your bag and everything.
Passport, wallet, phone, laptop, everything. मतलब वो बहुत ज़्यादा क्रेजी और बहुत ज़्यादा स्केरी था.
Even your bag and wallet bag, everything. Okay.
Everything. And could not find it, and it started raining.
Having your smartphone? That is also.
My partner's smartphone we had, but that was not Apple, so we could not even track.
Okay.
It was super crazy. It was so scary. I can't tell you. I had to call the embassy, tell them passport chala gaya, what to do. They're like, you'll have to you'll have to come back to Hanoi, because I was in Halong, and you have to come back to Hanoi and then apply for the
Halong Bay,
temporary passport. तो ये सारा चीज़ थी. हमने कहा आएंगे कैसे, पैसे ही नहीं है. It was so bad. I can't tell you. Like it was like everything is gone, and it started raining after that. अगर कहीं पड़ा भी होता तो वो बारिश में पूरा सब कुछ भीग चुका होता.
Okay.
ठीक है, सब कुछ चला गया था वो. And like we found everything using the Apple Find My devices thing.
Okay.
And that too I had to call my brother in India. I asked him to log in from my iPad that was still in India.
Okay.
So he logged in, he could track, and he saw the stuff is in Hanoi, and we were like no, फिर पुरानी location दिखा रहा है इसका मतलब. And then he sent a screenshot. I'm like, I've never been to this place, and it's moving, which means
It is still.
it is with somebody.
Okay.
So we told the police. They were like, no, we want proof. Like we can't just follow
Track
people
them.
from screenshots. How can we do it? तो हमने कहा कि हम अगर जाएंगे, we can be in a risky situation.
Difficult
as well,
situation,
like, what
yeah.
to do. So they helped, and जैसे मूवी का वो मूवी लग रही थी, कोई की मूवी चल रही है, अभी भी यकीन नहीं होता कि वो सच था. It like within 24 hours we had everything back. Everything.
Oh my.
Everything.
Yes.
Like the tiniest thing, even the one even the 1 rupee coins, everything we had back.
Okay.
Because it was the thief was a 14-year-old kid
Okay.
who was very hungry. He thought he'll get some food, and he stole everything. And he was very scared, very scared. And I thought, we don't want to take any action. It was just by chance. Vietnam was very safe otherwise. It was just by chance that this incident happened. But it taught a lot. अब हमेशा मैंने एक AirTag मैंने अपने friends को बोला मुझे birthday पे AirTag gift करना. So I have that now. I usually put it in my luggage. All the devices have Find My Apple on now.
Okay.
So now, but that was a crazy experience. So yeah, these were the craziest experiences, and I would say the best ones as well. I don't want to highlight any of the best ones. These were the worst and the best.
Wow. Because I have been to Vietnam, and it is such a safe place.
Yeah, it
yes,
is
very safe, and it's I think one of the best trip I had in Da Nang. I was in Da Nang.
Yeah, so that was very nice, right?
Very
For digital
nice.
nomads and
Yeah.
young people.
I went for BHX.
Okay.
Yeah, in Da Nang. Yeah, it was very good. So Shreya, let's discuss that also. That in the last 9-10 years of your career, what may be the top three learnings which can benefit our audience also? Because from where you start, from physics to now digital nomad visa in Bangkok. Yeah. A long journey and different journey, and it was not a planned journey.
It
That
was not
yes, this designation like that. So what are your top 3 learnings?
I think one is definitely if you are ambitious, identify it. We are not imposing ambitious goals on non-ambitious people. It's okay to be non-ambitious as well. But if you are ambitious, don't go a linear way. Keep trying other things in parallel as well. Don't just invest your time into one thing. Let's say you got a great job at Google, you got something amazing. Definitely still try something beyond that. Maybe you want to be a content creator. Maybe you want to travel. Add a layer on the top of it. Okay, try and maybe invest your growth into some other arenas as well. And second would be, I think mostly I want to talk about especially people who are just starting off, students, young professionals. Don't be limited with the job titles. That is very limiting and that is very unfair as well, because especially now the world is headed towards decentralized style of work, which means that the companies will be smaller now on. The corporates will be less less aggressive in hiring and less mass hiring and all of that is going to slow down in the world to come. So don't be dependent on placements and don't be dependent on just one job title. I want to be this, I want to be that. Try and think in your industry where you want to be, what kind of problems would you like to solve. That title can come in, like you can decide the title. At times, like companies have given me the option कि आप अपना title खुद decide करो, आप बस ये वाली चीज इन responsibilities के ऊपर टिके रहो. So go with that open mind and even make sure that your employer also respects that and understands that. I think keep that communication very clear between you, your manager, your leader, whoever it is. Third thing that I want to say is storytelling. And I was very weak at it. I was very small in presenting my work. I used to think I've not done enough. इतना भी क्या कर लिया मैंने, एक document ही तो बनाया. But no, that document is helping clients. That document is helping in clarity and whatnot. So definitely understand the bigger picture of your work, of your responsibilities. You should be able to tell those stories and be able to put it, even if you're shy, even if you're not a content creator, try to learn maybe some way of telling your story. It can be written, it can be a blog, it can be a portfolio, it can be a CV, but understand the bigger picture, then try to break it down into smaller things, how you did it, and tell that story of your past work to newer employers. Even let's say if you're right now in a job, try and have a story for it. Okay, right now, for example, what I'm doing is, I would say I'm just making documents for for Ayushman Bharat project.
Okay.
But it's not that. I am working on the insurance claim process for Ayushman Bharat project, in which the insurers will be able to connect with the healthcare providers and the patients, and there's a whole ecosystem where insurance claim process becomes easier for masses in India. And it's a big deal, right?
Deal,
so
yes.
Understand what is the big deal about your work and be able to say it as well confidently. I think that is going to take you places, because if you are able to talk about your work, people will know that you are passionate about it and they will always have something to give you. So definitely do that, and definitely do not limit yourself with job titles, and definitely do not think small for yourself.
That's amazing, and you have put it in beautiful words. So 1, 2, 3 for the audience. And here comes the one beautiful question. It was going on in my mind that you are made reel on 70 hours week, Nayan Murthy. So right now, how much hours you are putting in week?
I think I would say I still put 40 to 50 hours in my work.
40 to 50
but that
hours.
is I decide on that, and I get something in return. That's why I am motivated enough to put it.
Okay.
But if I were to work with a company, if they pay me for 40 hours, I will only work for 40 hours. I will do my best in those 40 hours. But I will not, if I'm forced to work for more, even an hour more than that, I will lose my motivation. So yes, it depends completely on how how the setup is, how the reward system is set up, what I get in longer term for that. But yes, right now, let's say I'm working on content, I'm working on a small project, I'm hunting new projects as well, or I'm helping people with consultations. It does take like 40 to 50 hours of my effort per week. But I still feel if I'm doing it for somebody else, I will not enjoy it.
Okay, it's for my own work, yes.
Yeah.
And let me ask you this very question, that how you are managing everything, because you are doing projects and different projects,
Yes.
and then you are doing your content,
Yes.
and then you are doing also maintaining Instagram, LinkedIn, Ayushman, some project. So how you are managing everything, and how you learn those things? Yeah.
I think it is all good time and project management. So
good time
I
and
am a good
project.
project manager. You can see
Okay.
from this that I am a good project manager. But yes, it's definitely about time management. It is definitely like some methods like time blocking help me a lot.
Time blocking.
Yeah, like I don't work every day on shooting content, scripting and editing, and then posting as well. And I've understood outsourcing some stuff. I've understood automating some stuff based on the manual work that I do a lot. So where to use AI for it, where to use, let's say, my team for it. I have a small team now for my content.
Okay.
But I know which things I can outsource and which things I cannot. So there's like clear demarcation with my team. So I think that is all project management, especially in creative work. It is very difficult to put it in a time blocked way.
Yes, yes.
कि हाँ अब एक रील ये पूरी हो गई है. I can keep perfecting it as well.
Yes.
But I usually do the blocking thing that let's say today I said let's say today is Wednesday. So Wednesdays are scripting days. Scripting days I will have to make 5 scripts. I will have to do it. Okay, and they will be like whatever ideas I'm getting, I will not, let's say मेरे को Thursday को idea है, मैं नहीं करूँगी उस दिन scripting, मैं idea note करके रख दूँगी, so that next Wednesday when I sit, I can just detail it out and prepare it for it. Of course, I'll not like lose the whole idea in the meantime as well, but I know कि मैं time ऐसे distract नहीं होंगी उस चीज़ से.
Okay.
So I like try to box my efforts and kind of keep separate days for separate stuff.
Okay.
And also I keep I think I like to keep everything sorted as well. Like I like to live in the present. If I'm with somebody, I don't want to keep checking my phone. And if I'm checking my phone, I don't want to speak in between with that. So I'm very sorted in terms of that.
Making systems is very important.
System is very important. There is a whole workflow for everything.
Yes.
You can build it.
Yes, and if you are working in a company, the system is made by the company.
them.
But
yes.
if you are alone, we have to make our own.
Your own system. You are your own boss. And sometimes even if becoming your own boss becomes something that's contradicting for your mind, I think a good way to do it is think of a hypothetical client or an employer or a boss and सोचो कि उन्होंने मुझे ये टास्क दिया है और मुझे ये खत्म करना है कैसे भी करके. तो अगर खत्म नहीं हुआ तो डांट पड़ेगी तो फिर करना ही पड़ेगा.
We have to make our own systems.
Yes.
Actually, and bind by that. Yes. So Shreya, means we are at the end of our podcast, and we are in 2025 and at 250k Instagram followers, and from last 9-10 years you are doing this and traveling. So means we have talked about past, we have talked about presents. What's the future? So where we can see you in another 3 to 5 years?
I think if I would decide, it would be again Ankara. I've loved embracing the new technologies that come, and I think that is what has given me the freedom to pick up new kind of career as well. So I definitely leave it to how the pioneers in the industry are going to come up with new technologies.
The AI.
I'll surely use that.
Yes, yes.
That is definitely I'm going to continue working and using it for my benefit. And the next is I think I have great expectations from myself as well. So more countries. I think let's say in 3 years, right? Okay, 5 would be way too long for me to do
Yes.
that. But 3 years, I can say I think 20 more countries I would love to do.
Okay.
And in terms of work, content of course will continue.
Yes.
Content is going to continue. I'm going to keep helping. I will definitely come up with some more scalable ways of connecting with my audience. So there are I have not done enough courses yet. I feel where there are not enough courses or there are not enough masters programs. You don't have to go for specialized MBA and all of that just to get a next job. I don't think it's necessary. So I want to increase the accessibility of high quality career oriented stuff as well. So I'll work on that for sure. So again, I'm talking about what efforts I will put in. I will leave the results to the world, to the universe. But हाँ मेरी तरफ से ये effort जाएगा कि मैं थोड़ा और accessible करूँगी अपनी knowledge को, अपने skills को. I will, even if it means bringing in more people in my team, I will do that. Content is going to continue, and then work-wise, I want to work with some amazing projects. Which I get to honestly, I get to work on those even as a creator. Because here also we work we become eventually freelancers for our clients. So here as well, I think I'm working on some amazing projects. So yeah, I think I'll continue with this for sure. So these 3 things will continue.
Wow.
And I think that's all the effort that I will put in that I can still define. But the results that I will get will be dependent on the universe.
Okay. Wow. That's amazing that you have put it in for 3 years. But here I'm getting more curious about that. Okay, you are traveling and you are not in Chandigarh. So, what about parents? Means how you how you now interact with parents, and how what story you are telling to them? Means, and whether means they will be calling that kabhi ghar bhi aa jao. Yesterday you had a birthday, yes,
Yes.
and you are not at your city. So means kaise? Matlab,
No, I have my partner now. You know that is all like amazing. It's going amazing for sure. My parents have understood the lifestyle now. It took them very long to understand because they've not seen it. Even honestly, I have not seen it.
Okay.
Anybody else doing it. So for me also, it's very new. You know the kind of lifestyle I have. So I think they've got a hang of it. And I've chosen a city like Bangkok, Thailand, which is almost, let's say somebody living in Bangalore. from
Okay.
Chandigarh. It's
Okay.
almost that. It's a
Okay.
4-hour flight. बैंगलोर में तो एयरपोर्ट तक जाने में इतना टाइम लग जाता है. तो कम से कम मुझे वो नहीं लगता. मेरे लिए यहाँ पे 20 minutes दूर है सिर्फ एयरपोर्ट.
Yes.
So I think that way, even if like let's say they need me, I need them, it's very easy to
Very easy to go. Yes, yes, yes. Now they have understood. Wow. So, Shreya, we are at the end of our podcast, and thank you so much for sharing your story, your learnings, your journey so authentically, so openly. And I'm truly grateful. Thank you.
You're welcome, and thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.